Hello, my name is Catherine Murphy. I'm a grad student enrolled in COMS520 Communication Theory at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Welcome to my presentation on the sociocultural influence, race, religion, and gender. Communicating with the world around us is an essential part of human development. Social interaction gives individuals resources for adjusting their ideas about who they are based on the situations that surround them, subject to outside influences. My research, albeit limited, offers a random sampling of evidence that supports certain variables that affect cognitive development and relationships. It asks the basic question: to what degree do the variables of race, religion, and gender play in development of social relationships? Let's begin with a brief introduction. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines communication as a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, and/or behavior. Social and cultural theorists show how communicators come to understand themselves as coherent, integrated beings with individual differences based on self-perception. The sociocultural perspective seeks to explain how factors such as race, religion, and gender shape mental processes and affect interactions between individuals and groups. Human beings share common denominators, influenced by their cultural backgrounds that shape behavior. Common denominators attract like-minded individuals and advance dialogue. Human relationships are formed and influenced by varying patterns of behavior and social interaction, facilitated by linguistics and symbols that are characterized by race, gender, and religion. For the purpose of this analysis, variations on the sociocultural tradition, including sociolinguistics, symbolic interactionalism, and social constructionism, will be applied to facilitate understanding of basic concepts. Briefly, sociolinguistics is the study of language and culture. Symbolic interactionalism concerns structures and meanings that are created and maintained in social interaction. Social constructionism studies how human knowledge is constructed through social interaction. From a scholarly perspective, the sociocultural tradition holds that social relationships are an early indicator of individual differences. The pioneers in communication theory supporting this school of thought are Herbert Mead, Manfred Kuhn, Irving Goffman, and Michael Heck, just to name a few. Collectively, their contributions demonstrate that individual identities are not formed in a vacuum. Rather, they're shaped by complex ecosystems that most notably include cultural traditions and values, gender, race, and religion. Race, religion, and gender impact the way we communicate with each other and provide us with a foundation for which to integrate and interact with others. Let's take a look at the effects of race on social relationships. In the social settings of organizations, individuals make sense of their experiences based on outcomes and contrived mental dialogues between themselves and others. The use of language and cultural expression within the context of sociolinguistics provides insight into the formation of relationships and group organization. For example, family histories are constructed historically and are embedded in social, political, and economic processes and relationships. Next, religion. From a perspective of symbolic interactionalism, researchers observe social structures that evolve from group traditions such as religion. Religion as a cultural and symbolic system is part of human development and a validation of actions advanced by a religious worldview. Religion provides feelings of belonging, identification, and meaning. For example, this country has coalesced under the banner of a Christian-based governing charter, the U.S. Constitution. If you believe God to be the creator of all things, you embody symbolism that is shared by others of faith. And finally, gender. From the lens of social constructionism, gender plays a vital role in facilitating interaction between the sexes as they identify with their stereotypical markers. Daily activities and socialization are gender-driven. Gender identity issues are connected to self-perception. And a gender-based network of relationships affects development. Think of boys playing with male action figures or little girls playing with dolls. Both tendencies come from human conditioning. In my final analysis, social interaction shapes our identities within the various settings. Individuals are actors creating stories that assert positions influenced by many factors, but predominantly race, gender, and religion. Critics of the sociocultural tradition and its branches charge that it's not broad enough, that it neglects the macro level of social interpretation or the big picture, that it misses larger issues of society by focusing on the trees and not the forest, and that it doesn't account for the influence of outside social forces and institutions. In conclusion, the academic study of communication is in its infancy stage. It wasn't recognized as a discipline until the second half of the 20th century. Broad in nature, it is an ambiguous science that is subjective at best. In the words of philosopher Alasdair MacIntyre, there should be a constant reference to social processes, to a constant interchange between moral discourses and moral actions. I couldn't agree more. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your interest in this subject matter.